Okay, we're ready. Could you tell us who you are, sir?
Yes, my name is, um, I remembered it last week,
You have a name
Jacob
tag.
Neary, and I'm the eldest of the Neary clan, 87, going to be 87,
Wow.
and I was born in 1939. I'm Catholic, of course, went to St. Joseph's School. With Catherine Neary, I taught her everything she knew. She's now a Jew. And I'm an Air Force guy, and just a roundabout doing a lot of things in different avenues and transportation and computers and so forth. I've enjoyed this reunion and getting to this age, kind of a miracle, I think. And it's not anything we had done right. So, and my son is the bishop here, a bishop in St. Cloud, Minnesota. So we enjoyed, the whole family was able to attend his ordination to the priesthood. So that was very enjoyable for us, but this is a great family to be with. Last one we had 214 people, I believe. And it's a big family. When you come right down to it, say, are you related to one of those Nearys? Oh yeah, I'm related, yeah. So that's the way it goes. But it's been a great life and great lot of fun. Especially when I was a kid, I used to stay with Catherine's family, and we used to go out skating on the lake and things like that, and enjoyed ourselves. We had enough people that we didn't have to have other people to join our baseball club.
And what lake was that? This lake right here?
No, it was basically Lily Lake.
Lily Lake.
It was right behind the house.
Yeah.
And we'd go to Riley School Hill sometimes with a big hill, and we would sled down that halfway across the lake.
Oh, wow.
It was a lot of fun. Aunt Loretta and Uncle Chuck were just fantastic. Aunt Loretta used to feed the neighborhood in the summer. And we enjoyed all that kind of stuff, and baseball and football and basketball and everything. So we had a great upbringing.
What year was that?
That I was with them?
Yeah, what time frame are we talking?
Well, when I was about, I'd say 10 years old. I remember that's when Kay had the measles.
Oh.
You had the measles then. Yeah.
In the 50s? Okay.
They had to lock her up. They wouldn't let her around the house.
Wow. Wow.
Oh. Well, what happened was she's a farm girl. And so I'm driving by her ranch, and there's this girl out there with no shoes on, walking in cow pies and everything to keep her feet warm. And that's how I met her. And I said, that's the kind of girl I'd like to have, So I was in Idaho. I was in the military. And out there, when you go to a date with a girl and you take her to a dance, you dance the first dance with her, and then you go and do whatever you want to do. Then you pick her up in the last dance of the night. We hated that. We used to wear sport jackets, and the farm guys out there used to wear jeans, with their overalls sometimes. And so we were a little different. They didn't like us too much.
So you were in the military what years?
1957 through 1963. Yeah.
So 1957 through 1963.
Yeah.
Wow. Right through the war.
Yeah. Well, they offered me a chance to go to Vietnam, and that's when they were looking for advisors. I said, no, I don't think I want to do that because I got to re-enlist.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
Well, we didn't know what was going on over there at that point.
Yeah.
But it was interesting.
Yeah.
We have 6 children, and 5 of them are women. So when we had Pat, we thought, well, this is great. We had a son, now we'll have a daughter. We did that. We had a son and a daughter. Then we did daughter, and it was great. So
Pat's the oldest.
Pat's the eldest, yes. And he thought he was in charge all the time.
Oh.
The girls told me that. I didn't know. So wow. It was great. So
fun.
Yeah. Pardon?
Grandchildren?
Well, we only have 5. Pat didn't have any. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, it's been great. You know, the house we bought now is one we bought in '73, and we're still going to stay there, I think, the rest of our lives.
Oh, wow.
But we had every place we went was a great neighborhood. In fact, our neighborhood, on the street we were on, it took 2 buses to get all the kids in school. So that was neat. And of course, it's different now. But yeah, there was a lot of thing with the kids. And
Wow.
we came from an environment that we, as parents, I think we were probably more strict than they have today. And we had restrictions on TV watching and everything. In fact, we got a new cable TV first time, and they installed it, and we discovered that the Playboy channel was on there. So what we did, we kept the kids out of the TV room, and we slept there all night until they could get it back and change it to where it was supposed to be.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah.
How funny.
So we had a lot of restrictions on that and so forth, but they went through it. Like when I built a deck, I gave them a chance to have a swimming pool or a deck, and they lost. I had the deciding vote.
What'd you get? The deck?
We got the deck. Yeah,
Okay.
we still have it.
All right.
So
That's good.
yeah, but it's been a good life. All the kids went to college, except for me. I never went to college. I went straight into the military, and there's where I learned how to be, a manager and everything. Everything I did was from the military. It was a great experience. One of my best friends there, and it just gave you a lot of responsibility. For an 18-year-old kid controlling aircraft and things like that. That was wonderful. What's that? I was 20 years with Whirlpool. 20. I left Whirlpool to go into the chemical industry. I was computer guy from Whirlpool, so I was manager of systems and programming, so they wanted me to manage their computer systems, which I did. And so we were destroying hazardous waste, and we were going in for our permit to be able to use our incinerator. Incinerator. And we could destroy PCBs and everything. And we were having hearings. And we went to a hearing by the EPA, were evaluating us. And it was in a farmer's area, and they had 300 people protesting. And we got there was 10 of us. And they're putting signs on our cars and everything. It was stop, ZYX. And the hearing officer said, "This is like a zoo." And one guy threatened me. He says, "I'm just going to beat your tar out of you." I says, "Well, look, I'm a computer guy. I don't do any of this stuff."
Right.
So he gave up on me. But that was a good experience going through that. I left Whirlpool with 20 years experience to go into a real shaky environment, for you don't know if it's going to exist or not. But I thought I had to try. So after that, I kept going into transportation, where I did most of computer work and things like that, and for the next 20 years, and retired at 62. And the thing I couldn't stand about retirement, I wasn't doing it. And so I called one of my friends. I says, "Jim," I says, I need something to keep me going." He says, "Well, come and see me." So he hired me to do all his emergencies in concrete business and so forth. And I enjoyed that for about 3 years, and I left, and then I fully retired. So,
Wow.
but I'm still busy working with the Knights of Columbus. I schedule all their events and enjoy it immensely. In fact, I did the 4th of July this year for both. I managed the bar and also all the hot dog stand. So,
Wow.
but I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to slow down now.
Huh.
So, I've had heart operations and cancer and different things, but I keep going. So I've been very, very fortunate and happy living a great life and had a lot of good experiences.
Getting back to the very first, who was your dad?
My dad was Jacob. Actually, his name was Enoch. Enoch Jacob. Or Enoch John, actually.
Enoch?
Yeah. And
Like the book of Enoch?
Yeah. Enoch.
Yeah, Enoch.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
Wait, your father's name was Enoch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not a junior or anything like that. So they had the name wrong on two different birth certificates were wrong. One from the hospital and one from the church. So I finally got it changed a couple of years ago to be one. So.
Oh.
But no, we had a nice family. We did a little bit of research on history. We came from Ireland in 1858. Both my great-grandmother and great-grandfather came on the same boat, but they weren't married at that time, as far as I know. John Neary and Mary White. And so it's kind of interesting tracing through all that. And we went, what's
interesting about that is they came from County Mayo.
Yes.
I have a book written.
Well,
I hate to interject this, but
Go ahead, here.
I have some interesting things here.
Yeah.
Sit down there.
I have a book that I just got recently.
Uh-huh.
It's called I Saw Our Lady.
Yes.
And it's written by Tom Neary. And what Tom Neary was required to do by one of the bishops in Ireland was to go back to all the newspaper clippings at the time of the apparition of the Blessed Mother at Our Lady of Knock.
Oh, yes.
And this book has pages and stories about, like, the two ladies were going back to the church to lock it up for the night. And they saw this light on the side of the church. It was the Blessed Mother with St. John and St. Joseph, and the Lamb on the altar representing Jesus. She didn't speak. She just appeared, and she didn't leave. They could see that apparition, farmers who were out in the fields doing some work miles away. It was that strong. And the village people came, and a lot of people saw this apparition. It was there for a good long time. And this book tells all these newspaper clippings. There's a person from America actually recently was interviewed and still gave the same rendition of what happened that night. 1879. And I believe our grandparents, grandfather in particular, came over before them. Do you have the year on that?
1858.
1858. So if you read that book, you see what the Irish went through. They had no jobs, no food. They were living in mud, eating mud and grass, starving to death because they had no means of self-support. In County Mayo, in Ireland. And because of this, it was hard to get out of Ireland. I don't know exactly how they were able to get on the ship, but you had to have money to get on the ship to come to America. And they came to Ottawa, Canada first, and then to Ottawa, Illinois. But it's an interesting thing that they went through. Anyway, I have a little take on this that I tell Father Pat all the time. You know, the Blessed Mother came with John and Joseph and Jesus. They said, now Mary, you can go to Ireland, but this time you can't talk. Because every time she appears, she leaves a message. She left no message. That's my just Irish take on that apparition.
Thank you.
That was real interesting for me.
Okay. Well,
The Nearys are from, there are a lot of Nearys in County Mayo. There are a lot of Nearys in County Mayo.
Yes.
And is that
Yes.
like south of the?
No, it's 25 miles away from Kilpanora, which is County Clare, where my husband is.
Oh, so it's that side.
25 miles away, and I never heard of Our Lady of Knock all those years.
I have a rosary from now.
I just drive.
Yeah.
That's how it started. I got holy water from my ex-cousin Nancy. Sent me some water from holy water. That's how I got into knowing about Our Lady of Knock. So much we don't know about our Catholic faith.
We went to Ireland in 1999, the whole family, and we went back in the areas where our family came from, and there was a Marie Neary, and one of my in-laws was saying that he always heard that the Irish intermarried. And so I asked the question of Marie, and she says, oh yes, she says, yeah, this Neary family had people that intermarried from another Neary family. And I says, well, you know, that's funny, intermarriage. And she says, well, we couldn't find anybody any better. And so that was her response. But it was the old Neary house, a cottage. They rent that to mostly people from Europe, Germany, basically. And they were just thatching the roof. But they thatched the roof, they got a steel roof underneath of it. And they put the thatch on top just to keep it, you know, in that fold. But the people there were so nice to us. It was very nice.
There are a million tourists that come to Knock every year. And on top of that, the Holy Cross priest, which is where Father Pat is, have a space there, and they have like 27 confessionals that they hear confessions from people that come there to visit. It's just, and a lot of miracles have happened at Our Lady of Knock, and are still happening, and it's still, it's boomed. The whole area is boomed because of it. And it's very interesting.
It is.
When we went 2 years ago, we were going to go, we didn't get there because of Uncle Patty, but it was not well. Michael and I hope to get there sometime.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your input.
You're welcome. We appreciate that. It's been a great family and a great time.
Yeah. Nope.
One year, my mother made a whole bunch of cookies. We had a big crock down in the basement. Remember the big crock, Mom? She would start like the day after Thanksgiving, and we'd wrap. She'd bake cookies, put wax paper. It was full, and we had the whole school over, which was only like 200 kids. After Christmas, the year that Jim got the railroad track, anyway, on the dining room table, we had the whole school. We went out on the ice. Bucky Haig and Charlie Haig, who were big guys, football players, they led the crack the whip. You didn't want to be at the end with them. I mean, they would just whip us around.
Oh, wow.
The whole, big long line of kids on the ice skates. He's a great ice skater. I can ice skate, but I can't ice skate too much. But you were great.
You were a good ice skater?
I can do figure eights.
Really?
And I can fall really well.
I did not know that at all. Did not know you were an ice skater.
She's a great swimmer.
I remember when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, I went ice skating over the weekend, and I didn't go to school on Monday because my ankles were hurting so bad.
Oh, wow.
So next on Tuesday, I went to school, and I was telling Sister Teresa, I said, I didn't come to school yesterday because my ankles were hurting from ice skating. She says, well, then don't go ice skating anymore.
Wow.
I shouldn't have told her. I don't know why I did. I thought she'd be sympathetic.
Yeah.
She wasn't.
Huh. Okay.
Well, Catherine and I were in the same grade school level of when we first went to school. And so in the class, my first year, I get up there and Sister Ursula asked me to come up and say the Hail Mary. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Okay, I mispronounced it. And I said, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is busy, because I thought that's what it meant. And I thought, if he's doing all these things, he's got to be busy.
Yeah.
So the whole class was laughing over that. I didn't laugh, you know. And that's when one time we were having a test, and Kay, on the test, she put down that I don't know the answer to this question, and I put down I don't either. So I was good at copying.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Now, Chip Schumer's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got quite the sense of humor.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good guy. Yeah. And you love your wife and your family.
All right. Well, we'll stop this
All right.
now.